If you're an immigrant living in the United States or dreaming of building your life here, you probably already know how one document can decide your future. A small plastic card, your work permit, often holds the power to provide stability, dignity, and hope. But what happens when that right suddenly disappears? Not because of anything you did wrong, but because of a policy change beyond your control. For many families, that fear just became real. Recently, the United States government announced a major shift that could reshape how thousands of immigrants live and work in America. The Department of Homeland Security has decided to end automatic work permit extensions, a benefit that for years gave peace of mind to foreign professionals waiting for their renewals. This decision means that if your renewal isn't approved before your current permit expires, your legal right to work will stop immediately. No extra time, no cushion period. The day your card expires could now be the day your job ends. To understand what this means, let's take a moment to break it down carefully. Until now, there was a safety net in place. Under a Biden-era policy introduced in 2022, many immigrants whose employment authorization document, often called an EAD, had expired could continue working for up to 540 days, as long as they filed their renewal before the old card expired. That year-and-a-half buffer helped thousands of families stay afloat, while U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, worked through massive backlogs caused by the pandemic. It wasn't just a bureaucratic fix, it was a lifeline. People didn't have to lose jobs, companies didn't have to scramble, and families could breathe a little easier, knowing they wouldn't fall out of status just because of government delays. But starting October 30th, 2025, that grace period disappears. From that date forward, anyone filing for an EAD renewal will no longer receive an automatic extension. Once your current card expires, you must stop working until your new permit is officially approved. There are a few limited exceptions, such as workers under temporary protected status, but for most others, especially H-4 visa holders, students on OPT, and green card applicants, this rule will apply strictly. Now, for anyone new to the U.S. immigration system, let's take a quick step back and explain what an employment authorization document really is. An EAD is not just an ID card, it's legal proof that you can work in the United States. It's essential for millions of immigrants who don't yet have a green card or citizenship. For instance, asylum applicants, international students completing their optional practical training, and the spouses of H-1B professionals all rely on this card to legally earn a paycheck. Without it, they cannot work, no matter how skilled or qualified they are. For those on temporary visas, this new policy creates a serious risk. Imagine you're a software engineer working for a U.S. tech company. You applied to renew your EAD months in advance, but due to processing delays, your new card still hasn't arrived by the expiration date. Overnight, your authorization vanishes. You must stop working immediately, even if your job depends on your project continuing. Your employer loses a key team member, and you face days or weeks without income. That is the harsh reality this change could bring. Let's talk about how we got here. Back in 2022, processing delays at USCIS had reached crisis levels. Many immigrants were using their jobs through no fault of their own because their renewals were stuck for months. To solve this, the Biden administration introduced a temporary 540-day automatic extension rule. It was designed as an emergency measure to prevent unnecessary job loss while USCIS worked to reduce its backlog. Now, 3 years later, the Department of Homeland Security says that the situation has stabilized. Officials claim that processing times are back to normal and that it's time to return to standard procedures. But immigration attorneys across the country are raising concerns, arguing that delays still exist and that some renewals continue to take 3 months or more. They warn that ending this grace period could once again throw thousands of families into uncertainty. This decision doesn't exist in isolation. It comes amid a larger shift in U.S. immigration policy. Under President Donald Trump's return to the White House, the government has been moving toward a stricter America First approach, emphasizing job opportunities for U.S. citizens and tightening rules for foreign workers. Recently, the administration increased the H-1B visa filing fee to $1,000 per application. According to officials, this change is meant to ensure that only the most highly skilled professionals apply. The higher fee, they said, would not affect students transitioning from F-1 to H-1B visas, but the broader message is clear: the door to U.S. employment is narrowing. Several states have echoed this sentiment. In Florida, for example, the governor directed public universities to stop hiring foreign faculty on H-1B visas, signaling a growing trend toward local hiring over global talent. Together, these actions mark a clear policy direction, one that prioritizes U.S. workers, but also creates significant challenges for immigrants who have already built lives and careers in the country. For many Indian and Asian professionals, this policy change feels especially personal. The majority of H-4 dependent spouses in the U.S. are women from India, many of whom have waited years just to get the opportunity to work legally. Without the automatic extension, a simple delay in paperwork could mean a sudden loss of income, putting pressure on entire families. Rent, bills, tuition fees, and even visa status can all spiral into crisis because of administrative delays. The same applies to green card applicants stuck in the long backlog, some waiting over a decade for permanent residency. They must keep renewing their EADs again and again. Under the new rule, if even one renewal is delayed, they could face a gap in employment. Previously, the 540-day grace period gave them stability. Now, that protection is gone. Immigration experts describe this as a step backward. They argue that the problem isn't immigrants, it's outdated processing systems. Many call for more efficient digital workflows and automated renewals to prevent workers from being punished for government delays. But in today's political climate, tightening immigration rules is often seen as a show of strength. Policies that appear tough on immigration are being framed as pro-American worker moves, appealing to domestic voters but leaving foreign professionals in limbo. So, what can you do if you're affected by this change? First, plan early. File your EAD renewal as soon as you're eligible, ideally 6 months before it expires. Keep all your documentation updated, monitor your case closely on the USCIS website, and stay in touch with your employer's HR department. Second, seek legal guidance if you think your work authorization might lapse. An immigration attorney can help you explore short-term solutions, such as switching status or applying for expedited processing when possible. And most importantly, stay informed. The landscape of U.S. immigration policy changes fast, and what's true today may shift again in a few months. Rules can evolve with political transitions, administrative updates, or court rulings. That's why being proactive and informed is your strongest defense. At the heart of all these policies are real people, families who have contributed their talent, taxes, and time to the American dream. They are scientists, nurses, software developers, and teachers. Their work strengthens the U.S. economy every day.